You're telling me that when you were little, making little PowerPoints for school, you didn't use side swipes.
I was an avid side swiper.
You're probably like a pixel transitioner.
Oh, it was a dark time. I'd prefer you not to.
Cube turn?
Hey, don't talk about the.
Do I dare say the star transition?
Don't talk about the page turns. Oh man, dark time in my life.
Kaiju and kaijin, all of you little monsters out there, all of you gremlins, all you dinosaurs, all you beasts,
Five more.
all of you
Different monsters. Come on.
crawlies,
That's okay. I guess it's a monster.
all of you creeps,
Yeah, okay.
all of you, have I said beasts?
Yeah.
Have I said abominations?
Yeah, I guess so.
Behemoths?
Wow, okay.
Gigantosaurs.
Wow.
Each and every one of you gigantosaurs out there.
All you creeps and crawlies listening to the show.
This one's here right for you. This is Podzilla. This is the show where me, Micah Drake, and my brother, Jasha Drake, right sitting across the table from me.
Yeah.
We're making a little journey through all your favorite monster movies. We've started with Godzilla. We're currently going through the fabled Gamera films.
A lot of fables, a lot of legends. This
Name 5 more for me.
name 5 fables. Well, there's 4 fables. There's 3 fables and another extra one actually that I don't know if it's as fabled, but it's the 3 Gamera Heisei movies, and we're starting on our journey through those 3 movies today with Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. These are like mythic status for kaiju lovers, for creeps and crawlies.
For all you creeps and crawlies.
Every creep out there loves the Gamera Heisei trilogy.
These are the ones we've heard, like the Showa Gamera films from early on in the timeline. They're all right. But once you get to the Heisei films, sheesh, man. You're going to be in for the time of your life.
Yep. Yeah, so we were really excited to get to these, and we'll get right into them soon. But Micah, I wanted to ask you, have you bought any like memorabilia recently? Have you been buying any Godzilla stuff, kaiju stuff?
Not kaiju stuff. I think the most recent thing I bought that's related to Godzilla. Oh man, I thought I got like the Godzilla in Hell omnibus.
Oh, you bought some comics?
Maybe I bought some Godzilla comics recently.
Have you painted your megaGodzilla like model kit you bought months and months and months ago? That was like mid last year. It was like this time last year.
No, it was before that. It was before that. Here's the thing.
It was a sick looking Kuryu model.
It looked
kit?
awesome. It was a Kuryu, I think, Mark II model.
Whoa.
I was living in my parents' place back then, and my dad had just gotten into his hobby of like buying army military miniatures and painting them. So he had like this big miniature painting setup with a spray gun and everything. I had hoped to hijack that for the mechaGodzilla. Like a few days before it arrived, we've talked about how our dad has various phases that he regularly goes through.
Yeah.
He'll jump onto a new one and literally sell anything related to the last one. He sold all of his paints. He changed that space to, I don't know, a rat heaven.
Yeah, he has a lot of rats now.
Now he's into rats.
He went from minis to rats. But Micah, I don't think that should stop you, man.
Well,
you can buy some paints.
no, well, the thing is, like,
you can buy some primers.
I haven't touched a single paint in my life.
We've painted some D&D stuff before.
I've spent 2 hours painting half of an adventurer for D&D. But my dad made me the offer. I didn't approach him. He approached me.
Was this recently?
A few months ago, to buy the kit and try do it up himself. He was getting back into miniature painting for some other TTRPGs that he has since sold after painting like 3 of them really well, might I add. The amount of times that we had been told about slapstick.
The slap chop.
The slap chop method of painting.
Yeah, the slap. He is really into painting at the moment. Me and Monique, my wife, we bought him like army board game. He loves World War II stuff. He loves board games. So we found this army board game. I think it's called Undaunted or something like that.
He'd specifically told us that he wanted this. He wanted to get into painting.
We found it. We thought he'd love it. We bought him the board game last Christmas and gave it to him. And he was like, whoa, this looks awesome. I can't wait to play it with you guys. And I've been trying to play it with him for the last 2 years. But he has just been buying every single additional set for it, every single add-on, every single expansion. He's been buying minis and painting them for the game, even though the actual game doesn't have minis in it. And there's this board game.
Even though he hasn't played a single
round with me of this game. And it's like, I don't know if I should have bought him it to begin with. I don't know what I've done.
I don't know, man. It's like what is it called? There's no return investment. It's a lost investment.
Yeah.
Long story short, he bought it off me. I think he immediately sold it once he went out of the phase.
Wait. Whoa. You don't even have this megaGodzilla.
Our dad probably has it. And hey, all of you who have been, at my back for the last few years, hounding me to get onto painting it.
Hey, look, why?
Hounding me to show progress
you
updates.
Even try.
You can hound my dad now.
You could have bought like some paints for like $20. You could go into the local model store and fung it here in our town.
We've talked about this. If you do something like that, I'm the type of person who wants it to look insane.
You could have put some time into it.
But Jason, I don't have a spray gun.
You don't need it. You can prime
paints
by hand.
You need to buy so many paints if you want to get started on one of those kits.
Nah, man. You don't even have this thing anymore.
Maybe I'll buy it off him again.
I was only asking you this because I want it to be like a celebratory conversation about the cool Godzilla stuff we're buying. Because I, not last week, but a week ago, bought the Godzilla -1 vinyl soundtrack.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So it looks pretty sick.
Does it have any like special decal?
Yeah, it looks
on the vinyl?
awesome. It's got some real funky colors to it. But I really love the Godzilla -1 soundtrack. It really stood out to me. All the emotional beats throughout it, all the times it plays, especially during the finale of the movie, especially when Shikishima is just feeling so down and defeated. There's like a real emotional song. It might even be called Pain that just really gets to me. So I haven't actually played it yet on my record player, but I'm really looking forward to playing it. And I'm really interested in getting into more of the Godzilla soundtracks on vinyl because I know like Mondo.
You can get some Mondo does some seriously cool vinyls.
Cool ones, yeah. So this is the beginning of my Godzilla vinyl journey, but I'm pretty stoked with it. Pretty stoked.
Jasha, should we move on to some real quick megaNEWSlon?
There is megaNEWSlon?
There isn't any crazy movie-related news.
Mm-hmm.
The closest thing would be that the new Empire, Godzilla X Kong, is now streaming exclusively
on Max?
On Max.
Wow.
We don't have Max in New Zealand, so it's not important news for us. But it might be for you. The other closest thing I could find, and it might not be worth mentioning, but you know the old like Shogun Godzilla figure?
This is the one with the tongue that you can like push in and out?
Yep. I don't know if it's like infamous for what it was back in the day.
Yeah, it's pretty iconic.
It's iconic. One of the directors of one of the recent movies has stated, one of the MonsterVerse ones, I believe. Who did 2014? It was either him or Gareth Edwards
Gareth Edwards did 2014.
No, it was either him or one of the other ones who spoke about how they like had that as a kid and it like really inspired them and hyped up their love for Godzilla. The Super 7 store, you know Super 7?
Yeah, I know Super 7.
They've officially announced and shown images now for a revamped vintage Shogun Godzilla toy, specifically with a metallic gold shine. Jasha, how crazy does this look?
What in the world?
It's just a golden Shogun.
I knew that they had redone this design for a few of their smaller Super 7 figures, but this is crazy because I think that one specifically has a hand that maybe shoots like the fist comes off.
Something like that. I'm still holding out for the day where we get a movie with Shogun Godzilla in. Also, I don't off the top of my head, I don't know what the event was for, but there have been a lot of collaborations between like Marvel Comics and DC for an anniversary of Godzilla's. So
Yeah.
a lot of their covers have had Godzilla variants.
Did you
recently.
see Venom Godzilla?
I saw Venom Godzilla.
Yeah.
Venom Godzilla looks sick.
Did you see Godzilla that Miles Morales had spray painted something on, done some graffiti on?
No.
Yeah, there's some good covers out there. Definitely check them out.
Man, the Venom one looked cool at the very least. And if I had to look for anything else, Jasha, it would be that Godzilla X Kong Titan Chases is nearly out and you can pre-register.
I don't know if this game is ever coming out.
I don't know, man.
We've been talking about Godzilla X Kong Titan Chases for what feels like years. I thought it was supposed to be coming out around the time Godzilla X Kong came out, but we're now nearing mid-July.
I'm so curious whether this game is actually going to do well or not. Because it's, look, no hate to Titan Chasers here, but it does seem like the type of game that would have come out like 7 years ago, right?
Yeah, there was a time and place for games like this. I remember really being into there was like a Narcos. Remember, the Netflix TV show Narcos about drug cartels?
Drug cartel? Yeah.
There was a it looked so similar to Titan Chasers. There was a Narcos phone mobile game that I was obsessed with. But that was like what, 2014? So I don't know who's going to be showing up for Titan Chasers. But I'll try to. I'll try to
We'll
show
try
up.
it out. Look, all I'm saying
Titan
is,
Chasers exclusive episode. We're going to be doing an episode just Titan Chasers takeover for that week of Godzilla.
Titan Takeover. All I'm saying is that I played a good amount of the Ants Godzilla collaboration.
No, you didn't.
I can barely remember it.
And you got into Voxel Wars.
Hey, Voxel Wars is still the best Godzilla game out there.
Looking out at Discord.
Quote me on that.
Looking out at Discord. Look at the Voxel Wars channel. Dead for months. No one said a single word.
Jasha, if I recall correctly, you've been the most active member in that channel.
No, just checking up to see. I'm counting down days till we delete that channel. I'm doing my business as one of the admins of the server, just checking for channels that aren't doing well that we can delete. And Voxel Wars, the time is getting close. The day is nigh.
Jasha, you posted something in there not but 2 days ago.
Yeah, just like a final last call. Is there going to be any comments here? And there's none.
Instead of a Titan Chasers episode, can we do a Voxel takeover? And it's just you playing the first 5 levels?
That's never happening. Let's talk about Gamera, Guardian of the Universe, shall we?
Yeah, I've got a little synopsis here, Jasha.
Should I? Before we even get to the synopsis,
What?
should I just say talk a little bit about the film? Because when we last left Gamera, when we last left Dai, they went bankrupt. They then tried to make Gamera Super Monster, this movie that was half reused footage from the older films. We didn't even talk about it last time, but apparently they'd lost all the props. So that's part of the reason why they couldn't film more monster scenes.
Wait, how do you lose all of your props?
Apparently they'd lost some of the monster suits and a lot of them had gone down in a fire.
Again, this is classic Showa shenanigans.
Yeah. They'd lost all these fires, these warehouse fires that happened to all these monster movies. It happened to the Gamera franchise.
Do you think this is the result of like one serial arsonist?
Yeah.
The kaiju arsonist.
There's one creep out there who hates kaiju movies.
One behemoth out there.
Yeah. But yeah, Dai weren't doing well. Gamera Super Monster wasn't well received. And Dai spent a lot of time in bankruptcy until they kind of did some business deals, merged some other companies, and got Dai back together again. However, they were only a producer of films. They weren't a distributor of films anymore. So they'd make movies, work with filmmakers to make them, and then they'll give them to other companies to distribute. And this is a strange space in where Gamera, Guardian of the Universe came out. So in the early 90s, Dai wanted to make a return to their classic monster movies, and they initially intended to revive Daimajin, do a Daimajin movie, a franchise we're going to get to later in the year. But they saw that a lot of people still loved Gamera. There was a lot of interest in the Gamera property, and it was coming close to the 30th anniversary of the Gamera series. So they decided to make another Gamera movie. Now, they went to Nissan Takahashi, who had written all the Showa era Gamera films, and he wrote a script for Gamera Guardian of the Universe. However, it was rejected by Daiei for being children's entertainment. They got this guy who wrote all the Showa films and just said, no, we do not want to go children's entertainment this time around. They also went to Noriaki Yuasa, who had directed most of the Showa era Gamera films, and he was briefly considered before they passed over even him to opt for a new director in Shusuke Kaneko, who had really wanted to make a kaiju film and who ended up making Gamera Guardian of the Universe. We'll know him from also directing Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah, almost as Attack later on.
That movie actually has a very similar feel to this.
Very similar film. And the funny thing is that Daiei actually had to turn to Toho to distribute this movie.
I was so surprised when I saw
they're no longer
flash up.
It's such a funny turn of events because they can't distribute movies anymore. They can only produce them. Toho is one of the biggest distributors, especially for these type of movies. Distributed by Toho. Gamera Guardian of the Universe.
All right, listen out, all you creeps.
Oh my gosh.
Off the coast of the Philippines, a ship holding a large amount of plutonium nearly shipwrecks on a floating atoll that seems to come and go as it pleases. Slowly, a small team is put together between an insurance representative as well as a member from the original ship crew to try track and uncover the secrets of the mysterious atoll. Meanwhile, sightings are reported of multiple large bird-like creatures causing destruction and eating the inhabitants on nearby islands. As ornithologist Nagamine and Inspector Osako try devising a plan to catch the creatures alive, the strange atoll becomes even stranger as puzzling metal icons are found all across the surface, and a ruined monolith is excavated from its center. When trying to translate the runes, the monolith shatters, and a gigantic shelled creature separates from the atoll, heading towards the mainland. The creature beelines for Fukuoka Dome, a baseball stadium where tainted meat spiked with tranquilizers are being set up to try and catch the flying beasts. The plan goes somewhat smoothly, though one of the bat birds escapes the dome, but not before the creature from the atoll emerges onto land in the form of a giant, walking bipedal turtle, managing to swat the beast into a nearby refinery. The turtle? Gamera, a genetically engineered turtle rumored to have been created by a super ancient civilization for the purpose of quelling the threat of the also genetically engineered bat birds, now known as Gyaos, and preventing them from reproducing unrestrained. As the Gyaos are whittled down to one sole survivor that grows to behemoth proportions, one child, the daughter of the insurance representative, is chosen as Gamera's priestess, creating a telepathic bond between the girl and the turtle. But will this bond be enough to prevent the Gyaos from causing widespread destruction across Japan? Or will they finally fall prey to their long-standing adversary, Gamera, Guardian of the Universe? It very much, in my opinion, had that Return of Godzilla feel to it.
Yeah, they it's night and day from Super Monster, from pretty much any of the Showa era Gamera stuff, which was very bright and colorful and goofy and fun. This turns a corner drastically and gave me huge Heisei Era vibes, like Godzilla Heisei Era, especially when we start off with like a couple ships out at night over the dark waters of the ocean.
It's like very, like almost exact same starting.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it's a stark difference from Super Monster. That came out in 1980.
Yeah.
The first Heisei Godzilla film came out in 85.
Mm-hmm.
The last Godzilla Heisei film, Versus Destroyer, came out in 95, which is the year that Gamera Guardian of the Universe came out. So they're like lining it up almost perfectly with the the end of the Godzilla Heisei era.
Yeah.
So it very much feels like they've they've learned a lot of the classic Heisei techniques now. And yeah, I don't know, everything they're employing just has that Heisei feel to it.
Yeah, and I liked it for the most part. Like, it was really cool to have this more serious, more dramatic Gamera story. And I love the way Gamera looks in this. If we can talk about the giant turtle first.
Oh, please.
Should we talk about this guardian of the universe before anything else?
Can we talk about Gamera?
Because he's had a huge upgrade, and I actually really love the way he looks in the Heisei era. In the Showa era, he always looked goofy. He always looked lanky. He had that weird walk he did when he'd move one arm and one leg at the same time and drag his little tail along the ground.
He was so thin, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how a human could fit inside that suit.
But even where his arms and legs are coming out from in this, just how much of a bulky little guy he is in this first Heisei era movie. I really liked him. Even how they were able to give him a bit of personality in his eyes. I think the animatronics in his head really brought him to life.
The eyes were the big thing for me. They look realistic. They look like human eyes.
Yeah.
Which threw me for a loop, but I think for a creature that is supposed to be more of a friend to humans than any other kaiju is supposed to be, it fits.
Mm. And it's pretty funny that they find that out from the outset in this movie too. They're like, "Whoa, hold up, he's on our side. Let's see what he does. He's actually helping us out." We didn't really get a movie when he's just this creature of destruction first.
Mm.
But in saying all that about how I love his appearance, I am finding it just so hard in my brain to connect the dark tones of this film. Like, there's no real humor in this movie at all, which I feel like it could have added a little bit with its characters. The characters are a little lacking, or at least for me. We can get into them soon. Like, just this dark intensity to Gamera, who halfway through the film, like, turns into his UFO flying shell form, and he's spinning around, and he's boosting off into space, and it's very unrealistic, but they're treating it as like this real gritty, realistic thing. I don't know what they were really thinking, trying to take this children's character, this monster from the Showa era that was connected to children's entertainment first and foremost, or at least that's what it became, and then trying to like so drastically shift it to an almost other genre, but still keep his little wacky absurdities. I don't know what I think about it. It's just a weird like thing going on in my head while I'm watching it. I can't really put the two together.
Yeah, and coming from us who we haven't seen the other Gamera films in this trilogy,
No.
it does feel like there's a very jarring tonal mismatch coming into it from, I feel like from the start of the Gamera series, he's very much portrayed as this almost a bit more childish or a bit more fun monster in nature. You specifically referred to his spinning UFO flying turtle shell, which is like a mainstay for me for Gamera. And that scene looks great here. I love the jets. I love his flying, but it just seems so weird to me that they took what was like the pinnacle of like a children's kaiju. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the kaiju who very intentionally is a friend to all children across the world. And this is the creature they decided to have a comeback by making it very dark and very serious.
Maybe I'm just maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm a bit animalist, like,
What?
I look at a big dinosaur monster like Godzilla and I'm just like, yeah, that thing, like, that's so
that
cool.
thing rips.
That guy rips. That works in like a whole manner of context, just the way he looks and what he is. But then I look at this little turtle, and I'm like, can I really see this little turtle that turns into a UFO and take him seriously? I don't know. Maybe it's a me problem.
Yeah, I think if you look at the two animals, turtle and T-Rex, you can clearly tell that one is a bit more, a bit more dangerous, a bit more grisly than the other.
Yeah, but I really like the way they went with bringing Gamera to this new era, especially when he's this mysterious floating island at the start. What did you think of Gyaos? Because I didn't even clock until like earlier this month or when we covered Gyaos, that he was also the villain in Guardian of the Universe.
Can you say that name once more for me?
Gyaos.
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 You don't pronounce the Y.
Nah, it's just
I'm
Gyaos.
just figuring this out for you now.
It's Gyaos.
You've gone full into like the Gatling
You
cannon.
can trust me on this, Micah. You can take my word for it. Gyaos.
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 Well, each of these three Heisei films, like, are Nemesis films.
Mm-hmm.
Gamera versus Blank. And yeah, it's very interesting to see Gyaos as the pick here. Not because I feel like he's set up as much of a rival as you can in the Showa series.
Yeah.
He's one of the only, monsters opposing Gamera who appears in multiple films, not in the form of a
we had Space Gyaos as well.
It was Space Gyaos. And they made the choice, Jasha, of making Gyaos a race.
Yes.
A race of birds. It feels a lot like Godzilla's Singular Point and how it treated Rodan.
Yeah.
By having it as a multitude of these creatures rather than one sole creature. And we do get that in the end as multiple Gyaos end up being killed off. The final one ends up growing and becoming, I think it's properly termed Super Gyaos.
Yeah.
And I think I like that take on it. It's an interesting take.
Yeah.
I do feel that Gyaos, well, I think it's a she in this movie.
Yeah. Completely female. They reproduce themselves?
Asexually.
Yeah.
She feels, I don't know, maybe a lot less mysterious, personally, than in the Showa series.
And to me, somehow even a bit more goofy than in the Showa series. And I don't, like, for everything I loved about Gamera's appearance, the Gyaos side of it kind of didn't work for me at the start. They have the same kind of googly eyes, but that mixed with the flat head and like the puppeteering of these little Gyaos, especially when they're just like snacking on that tainted meat in the stadium.
Yeah, the Fukuoka Dome scene is, I think, where, like, that's where a lot of that Gyaos personality is shown.
Yeah. That, I couldn't help but remind me of like Godzilla. Just like the way these heads were moving. And I was like, these are just like little googly-eyed puppets.
The eyes feel like, whatever Shin Godzilla's called them that.
Yeah.
But at least at the start, they feel a bit more animalistic and natural, which I do think is what they were going for when creating it here. But I think that they almost make a trade-off between making Gyaos feel, I don't know, just like just a monster of the week.
Just a giant pterodactyl thing.
It's like when we watch episodes of, I don't know, Ultraman or like Zone Fighter, you come across the villain of that episode and it's just like, oh, here's this person with a funky design. Cool.
Especially because Gyaos was my favorite Showa Era Gamera movie. That employed some real cool special effects and personality to the film, and I was looking forward to some of that again, especially when it is revealed that the Gyaos in this have the same ability as they used to have. They can like seamlessly cut things in half. That's only used a handful of times.
When is it used?
They cut through the bars.
They cut through the bars. At the very end, Super Gyaos cuts off her foot.
Yeah, cuts off her own foot. She starts to use it on a bridge, but doesn't quite cut through it and just starts making it like unconnect from itself. I don't know. I was looking forward to some cool special effects in that vein, just getting creative with it, but they opted not to. And that's not saying that the special effects in this movie were bad, because it was pretty cool. Back to full-on miniatures.
Some of the special effects were cool.
Let's talk about the miniature stuff, because there's so many explosions. There's so many buildings breaking down. There's so many scenes when the road and the ground is breaking apart as Gamera's coming through it. And I thought that stuff was fantastic. Some of the explosions, there's like a explosion at the end of the film. I think it's when Super Gyaos gets destroyed. First off, getting its head exploded by Gamera's fireballs. And then the whole like platform it's on, the whole landmass it's on just goes up in flames. And there's this shot that reminded me of Godzilla -1 of Gamera's hunched back, the shell there as he's looking up at the destruction he's done. It's just this pillar of fire. And it was really cool just to have that in camera suitmation special effects again. That blew me away, especially at the end there.
Yeah, one of my favorite things that feels very Gamera about this is when you have the city fights on foot between Gamera and Gyaos in their suits. All the fights feel very dynamic, and it's something that I felt way back when we covered the Godman, Go Forth Godman short with Godman and Green Man.
Yeah.
And how, all of the camera shots are done. Oh, or maybe it was from one of the Godzilla shorts. One of them, they very intentionally have a lot of objects obfuscating the creatures and like hiding the fighting behind, hiding them behind all of these different buildings.
Smoke, explosions.
And even something as simple as like having, huge power lines in the middle of the frame. Like it doesn't hide the monsters, but it very much feels like you, the viewer, are seeing this monster fight from the view of a person on foot.
The filmmaking in those scenes was spectacular as well. Like there's so many times when the camera's looking up at them, and I love the shots when we're looking up at the kaiju as if we were humans on the ground.
Because that's something you never get from the Godzilla franchise.
Yeah, and just visually across the board, I mean, the iconic shot of like Gyaos on the broken Tokyo Tower as the sun's going down.
How good is that shot?
It's blowing my mind. I was crying tears. That shot, and then it's like cutting to the orange moon afterwards. It's just
I was crying when
else.
when Gyaos's eggs smashed on the ground.
Oh, that's rough.
If we're talking about special effects, that scene was cool.
I was crying when Gyaos's poop was just splattered on the island. Right?
When you found those glasses and that pen. Oh, I saw that pen and my eyes welled with tears.
It's cool having like physical props like that, and especially the eggs. Just seeing that practically done was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But the other side of the special effects, I think you were referring to, which I absolutely hated, was anything done in the air. Any of the flying scenes.
Yeah.
Which sucks because Gyaos is a flying creature. Half of Gamera's skill set is that he can fly. So, of course, we get some flying scenes in this. They fly up to space. It's like why this movie's called Guardian of the Universe almost.
Is it why it's called Guardian? I was very confused as to why it was called Guardian of the Universe when 99% of the fighting takes place within the atmosphere.
Yeah, they break the atmosphere for a little bit at the end. But all the stuff in the sky, it looks pretty terrible.
Yeah, the way they've done the comping, it like anybody flying in frame, Gamera, Gyaos, mostly Gamera, surprisingly. It just feels so disjointed from the rest of what's in the frame.
And just like even the model they used for Gamera, there's one when he's got jets out his legs, but then he's still got his arms in the air.
And you loved it.
They stick on it so long, so you can obviously tell it's just this still figure. I was just hoping it would look a bit more dynamic. There were some cool stuff they tried to do, like that scene when Gamera and Gyaos break through the clouds. And I don't know. The clouds look practical. It looked like a practical set they were going through. It must have been.
I think so.
It looked great. Awesome. Some stuff like that. But yeah, anytime they're flying through the cityscape, it just took me out of the movie so much.
That'd be my number one pick for what I hope they upgrade or improve on for the sequel to this.
Yeah, I wonder if we are going to get any more like flying scenes. I don't know, because Legion and is it Iris, the next two monsters, I know nothing about them. Who knows if they're in the air?
You've just brought up a crazy point, is that we're going to have to figure out if it's Iris or Iris.
We got time.
Or Legion or Legion?
Yeah, it might be Legion. Yeah, might be.
Jasha, if we had to go to the humans in this
please.
movie, we always say how the best kaiju movies, they're split between having good kaiju and good characters.
Yeah. The parts make up a good whole. Good parts make up a good whole, we say.
That's what we say. Good parts make up a good whole. Who was your favorite character out of the bunch?
I loved, is it Nagamine? Nagamine, that's it. Yeah, she was great. This like professor's assistant, really into birds, starts off just going looking for her professor who got lost on the island with the Gyaos, and then ends up sticking around and being almost the the person who knows the most about these things, the person everyone's turning to, the cabinet, the military, to learn more about what the Gyaos are. I really loved her as a character. She was compelling. She felt emotional. And her sidekick, who I thought was a real fun part of the movie as well, was it Osako?
Yeah.
This kind of real stressful looking dude. This guy was stressed out of his mind. How he's apologizing, bowing his head, his stunned face when they're like talking to the cabinet, and the cabinet are asking them to try and capture the Gyaos, and he's just looking stunned.
Yeah. He's a great one.
Yeah, I think those two I thought were really good.
I'm real with you there on Dr. Nagamine there.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun having this character who starts out as an ornithologist, is brought on for her experience, and then even though she studies birds, has to like head up the investigation for something that they find out isn't a bird, and has to try and, you know, work and resolve that whole section of things there. It's hard. I feel like apart from her, all the other characters were just a little bit bland. Like they had potential, but they never really got there. We had what feels like our protagonist for the movie. Yoshinari Yonemori. He is the deckhand, part of the original ship that comes across the atoll at the beginning. And I feel like he just doesn't do much at all.
He's so bland. Like, I feel like, especially him having that first encounter with the island that ends up being Gamera, you feel like he'd be a bit more invested or feel a bit more emotionally wrapped up in this whole plot.
I think you get that right at the start when he's saying to, I think, one of the other insurance,
The insurance dude? An inspector? There was an insurance guy in this?
the insurance representative.
Oh,
It's
at
who
the
he
cabinet.
sticks along with. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's saying how much he wants to go and investigate this atoll because he was with the original crew and he wants to try and figure this out and sort things out. He ends up making dinner for the whole family there. That's a fun scene.
It's a fun quirk when him in that apron doing all the cooking and cleaning to kind of get on to
Get
this
on his
mission.
good side. And I feel like after that, his character is just kind of forgotten.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. He had that cool moment when he's holding up that watermelon. Just a random scene when he's talking to a lady and he's just got this watermelon with him. It's like, dude, why have you got a watermelon right now?
I feel like everybody else kind of falls into the same way as he does. What surprised me though is that we have the girl. We have Asagi Kusanagi here, who is deemed as Gamera's priestess halfway through the film. And the same thing happens with her. Like, she is just quite a bland character.
I didn't even like her acting. Like, there's a lot of times when you feel like she should be emotionally affected by what's going on or by what's happening to Gamera, and she just looks like a stunned mallet. Like, she just looks...
She does.
So out of it with her... Like, there's a scene when she's trying to coerce a taxi driver to bring her to Gamera. She tries to do, like, puppy dog eyes to make him take her there. And her face, just nothing about it would make me want to take her anywhere. This is the most pitiful excuse for her trying to coerce this taxi driver. I couldn't get behind her at all. And then I read afterwards, and I heard people say this to us before, that the actress is Steven Seagal's daughter. Steven Seagal being one of the maybe most infamous action stars of the 80s. Known for just some pretty terrible acting. So I guess it kind of it tracks a little bit.
Weird.
But it's wild that Steven Seagal's daughter is in this.
You know what I think unjustly made me dislike her? Was that when she creates that telepathic bond with Gamera, one, it feels like you don't really feel any connection with them. Other than the fact that when Gamera starts getting hurt, she gets hurt as well. Which is a setup for a real cool, like, finale act for the movie is when Gamera's in this huge fight. She's getting cut up as well. You start seeing like one gash on her cheek, one gash on her arm, and then nothing else happens. She doesn't get any more cuts. There are scenes where, you know, Gamera and Gyaos like grasp onto each other. They're falling towards the earth with Gamera trying to like pile drive Gyaos into the ground. He ends up just slamming into the earth.
He has to like revive himself in the flames.
Yeah, he smashes into like, I don't know, a nuclear site, like a refinery. Nothing happens to Asagi here.
Where are all Asagi's broken bones and burns?
I was waiting for Gamera to like smash into the ground and you see her just like, I don't know,
Ragdoll
bones
and
break.
helicopter.
Yeah. That would have been like crazy turn of events, but she just gets a couple gashes here and there.
What does she actually do as the priestess? She, at the very
believes.
end, at the very end, she holds her dad's hand, looks up at Gamera, and she believes. We see her eye, we see Gamera's eye. Gamera does his beam clash, takes Gyaos' head off. That's it. It's the power of love. It's the power of family.
Well, hey, at the end of the movie, Asagi says that Gamera will come again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she does. She's vouching for Gamera's return. She's the person vouching for a sequel.
Yeah, there's some real weird character choices in this. I wasn't behind all the monster stuff. The action scenes were great. Majority of the practical effects were great. And I think the strongest point of the whole film was just the filmmaking talent. Just the choices, the editing style. It could have used a few less sideswipe transitions. They were cool for what they were.
You're telling me that when you were little, making little PowerPoints for school, you didn't use side swipes?
I probably am I was an avid side swiper.
You're probably like a pixel transitioner.
Oh, it was a dark time. I'd prefer you not to.
Cube turn?
Hey, don't talk about the.
Do I dare say the star transition?
Don't talk about the page turns. Oh man, dark time in my life. Yeah, but I do think that there's some strong creative decisions. The soundtrack for this whole movie is really strong and really dark and mysterious. I really loved it, and the tune, especially at the end and the finale of the fight, is pretty amping before it gets pretty emotional as well.
You get some real cool woodwind sounds in there.
You're thinking about the credit song?
Yeah.
The credit song had good woodwind.
Good woodwinds.
The credit song did go hard. That was a banger.
Yeah.
It was a banger.
I'm hoping for that for the rest of the Heisei movies as well, as movies that you can sit through the credits to.
It had great picture quality too. I don't know if it was just the Arrow Blu-ray set that we had, but it looked fantastic, especially coming out of the Showa era. And it tried to play with a few like bigger thoughts. There was that whole thing about generations before us leaving the Gyaos to us as their heritage. And then we're pretty much doing the same and leaving things like nuclear weapons and plutonium as our heritage to future generations, kind of stuffing up the future ahead of us was an interesting thought that I wish they delved a little deeper into.
I mean, it's crazy the fact that in the original Gamera, he's an alien from outer space.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, he's like created by some sort of like Atlantean race.
For the purpose of defeating the Gyaos if they ever wake up, right?
Yeah, for the sole purpose to fight the Gyaos.
Like these little birds. They create this turtle to fight some birds if they ever hatch. This turtle with...
Is that not the animal that you'd create to fight some
with like
birds?
a jetpack? Yeah, crazy. Should I quickly go through some trivia before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
So we talked about them initially going to Noriaki Yuasa, the director of the Showa era movies, seeing if he wanted to be involved with it, ultimately passing him and not choosing him. When he eventually went and saw Gamera Guardian of the Universe, he apparently really disliked it. And even from here on out, he disliked the rest of the Heisei era films.
Wow.
He really felt like they were appealing too much to older audiences, that they were too dark and too dramatic, and that wasn't really what Gamera was. He said that Gamera was initially meant for children. The whole idea of Gamera, the whole inception of it, was meant to be a hero to children. And he really criticized these films for being like, why are you choosing Gamera to make an art film? This guy is like it's a children's hero. You're making an art film with it. Which I think is just funny to hear that he disliked these.
It's so funny that we both mentioned that the tone felt jarring to us.
Yeah.
As it even goes against, apparently, the creator's vision for the films.
Yeah, but it's still a bit weird because I feel like if I made like a popular franchise. One day when I make this crazy hero that everyone loves, this monster.
Children's monster.
Children's. Yeah, if I made a famous children's monster.
What animal would you choose?
You know what animal I would choose.
An armadillo?
Or a rat. When I make the famous kaiju rat that everyone's going to love and adore, make it focused to children, and then like way later on when I'm elderly and old in a rest home, I see that a young hip filmmaker's done a drastically different turn on my kind of IP, my idea. I feel like no matter what, I'll kind of celebrate it and be like, oh, it's cool that they're taking it for a new generation and there's fans for this new take on it. I just find it weird that like any director's coming out and being like, nah, what have they done to my baby? This sucks.
I kind of understand it, but on the other hand of things, like I think especially in today's current media climate, now more than ever, if you ever have an attempt at revitalizing a franchise, say with like, I don't know, the Thing prequel that came out in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
Like having any reboot like that, it doesn't stop there from being more attempts at a reboot or a rejuvenation of the franchise later down the track.
Yeah.
I feel like we're better at that. Probably at the time as it was the big comeback for, Gamera's first comeback, it would be a bit more of a kick in the gut, a punch in the gut for that to happen.
Yeah, and I guess the next thing I wanted to bring up was that the director, Kaneko, he went on record saying his main inspiration for this whole Heisei trilogy was Godzilla, was Ishiro Honda. He mentioned that as a child, he really loved Ishiro Honda's films, felt like they were much more sophisticated than all other monster movies. He apparently used Ishiro Honda's early Godzilla films as a textbook and would constantly ask himself, when making this Guardian of the Universe movie, how would Honda have made it? Which is so interesting that he's making a Gamera movie, The Big Return to Gamera, and not looking back at the older Gamera movies, but specifically looking at Godzilla and wanting to match that tone.
For a kaiju that was made as like the opposition to Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's so funny that in the end, at least at this point in time, they ended up leaning more on the history of Godzilla than continuing to do their own thing. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, because it's weird, but in some ways, like, Gamera Super Monster makes more sense tonally in my mind with the wildness of that than this does still. Like, at least that captures what Gamera's heart was.
I would agree.
And this is a really cool monster movie. We'll wrap it up soon and give our ratings, but it just doesn't go hand in hand with the what Gamera used to be, what the feel of Gamera has been, why the monster existed in the first place.
I am excited. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, I'm super excited to explore this darker tone of Gamera here.
Yeah.
But like, even pointing to something like Isagi, the priestess in this movie, I'm not too sure if that was the movie's attempt at having a child protagonist in this movie.
Was, yeah.
As being like, hey, Gamera is still a friend to children. Here's one of them.
They have a necklace.
You don't really get that. I feel like it doesn't come across real well where, looking at Super Monster, the kid was at the forefront of that movie, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a real interesting way to do this where you have a super serious tone or a real, like, I don't know, maybe even crazy gory tone, a darker tone to the film, and still have a child very much so as the protagonist. I'm curious if we're going to see that with the rest of the Heisei series, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing little journey. I've got just a couple more bits here, but one's really cool. The suit actress in this, Yumi Kamiyaga, who played Gyaos, she became the first known actress to ever portray a kaiju in a movie.
Ever?
Yeah, she is kind of pointed to as she was the first one to be a kaiju in like a Suit Nation film, which is really cool.
That's awesome.
That she did that, because I guess Ryota, that played Baragon in GMK, that came out after this. It's just so cool that, Yumi Kamiyama kind of opened the door for there to be more actresses in this space, which is really awesome. And I think that specifically the director wanted a woman to play Super Gyaos in the first place, just to give it a bit of a different body shape or a bit of a different look as to what people are used to seeing kaiju like.
I mean, even just having something as different as different body language to what you'd typically see from a kaiju.
Pretty cool. And the last thing, I don't know if you clocked this, Micah, but early on in the film when we're seeing the different ships out in the ocean, actor Akira Kubo, who is in a whole lot of the Godzilla films in the Showa era, pops up in a minor role as captain of the Kaiju Maru.
I thought he looked familiar.
Yeah, Akira Kubo plays Goro Maki in Son of Godzilla.
Goro
One of
Maki!
my faves. So I thought that was really cool. And then additionally, Kojiro Hongo, who starred in a couple of Showa era Gamera movies. You remember him? Hongo? He appeared as a captain of the other ship, the Nojima.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool that they're giving a spotlight to a couple of these classic kaiju actors.
A little bit of a through line there, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Micah, should we wrap this up? Do you want to give any final thoughts on the movie and give us a rating?
Dude, you're giving the rating this time.
Yeah, I'll give it to you when you get to it.
Yeah, I don't know. For what was hyped up as the kaiju trilogy to end all kaiju trilogies, I was expecting that every single movie of this trilogy would pack such a punch, and hopefully the second and the third movies do, but I feel like this movie was just a little bit of a letdown, honestly. I remember feeling the same way with Return to Godzilla, Godzilla's first Heisei introduction, when we watched that. And I feel the same way about this. Maybe the Gamera Heisei tone will, rub off on me in the end, and maybe I'll really enjoy it. But I feel like there was a bit of, I don't know, if you call it like a stumbling period with this one, where Heisei Gamera is finding his baby steps. I feel like a lot of the characters just don't land or have as much of an emotional impact as they should. I honestly felt like Gamera should have gotten a bit more screen time in this movie. And for both of our big monsters in this movie, I feel like they're not showcased as well as they could have been for a movie that was released a decade after their last outing,
Yeah.
Hoping that we see some more crazy effects, hoping that we have a bit more of a better cast or better acting in the future. Do you know if any of the characters actually return?
I think for this trilogy, we get the recurring cast throughout them all. Some of them might not show up in all three, but there's definitely a few from this in each one.
Jasha, Asagi is in all three of these.
Is he? Asagi, the guy's just fully stressed out, towel around his neck.
Asagi is the priestess.
Oh. Okay. I was thinking of Osako. Okay, wait, Asagi's in all three.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Potentially still as a priestess, which will be very interesting. Yeah. I'm still so looking forward to the second movie here. Legion. Attack of Legion?
I think so.
Yeah. But this one, what am I going to give it, Jasha?
Micah, how many pairs of chromosomes would you give this? Right? Well, Gyaos has, one pair of chromosomes?
A single pair
because it's such a perfect organism. How many pairs of chromosomes would you give it? The film. How many pairs of chromosomes does Gamera Guardian of the Universe have?
I'm gonna give it the same that I gave for Return of Godzilla. I'm gonna give it 2.5 pairs.
Really?
Of chromosomes.
So this very much felt like that to you?
Yep.
Interesting.
I don't know, there's something about the Heisei eras for me where the first movie just doesn't land as I feel it should. Hopefully that changes. I've got my fingers crossed.
Interesting. I don't have many final thoughts here myself. Yeah. I found this such an enjoyable, impressive monster movie. Visually, it looked really cool. I really, really loved the set pieces they had with that big baseball stadium with the island initially. They go through the jungle a little bit. We get some scenes of them looking in caves at the dead Gyaos. Visually, it was really impressive and interesting. I love the fights, especially the final battle, Gyaos versus Gamera, just the amount of explosions and miniature destruction. It always makes me smile. But the characters were super lacking for me. Some of the special effects, the flying stuff, was really goofy. I don't know why they kind of left that side of it in when more of the practical stuff just looked so good. Kind of just left a bad taste in my mouth between the two of them. And yeah, really, even though I think it's a really impressive, really good, I think it's a really good monster movie, kaiju movie, I don't think it's a good Gamera movie. And I really hope that they just bring some of the aspects that made the Gamera franchise special or made it so unique and iconic into the trilogy going forward. I think that would be really cool. Why are they shying away from just having a little kid who loves Gamera and is on Gamera's side? I think that would really add to it a little bit. But I'm going to say it's got 3.5 pairs of chromosomes out of 5. I still had a really good time. I am really pumped for this franchise to just get better and better as the rest of these Heisei movies go on. And I hope that they can, find their footing a little bit and iron out some of the kinks. But it was a good movie. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
I think that might be the same rating I gave Return of Godzilla. So we really are just doing the Heisei.
We're retreading, aren't we?
We're retreading, restarting again. Let's hear what you guys thought, because I know a lot of you out there love this film, so it'd be cool to hear some of your takes on it. Starting with Ravenous Glavenus's Letterboxd review. Ravglav says, I've always felt like Gamera was such a silly concept for a kaiju, considering the unusual nature of his abilities and how often he's represented as an honest hero. Yet that's exactly what I adore about the Heisei trilogy and Guardian of the Universe in particular. Instead of deviating from aspects of the character that might make those unfamiliar with the series chuckle, they play it rather straight and choose to flesh out a backstory that explains both his heroism and his bizarre traits. We're also reintroduced to Gyaos, who's responsible for contrasting that hopeful heroism with a foreboding sense of dread and a creature that feels unassuming at first until its true origins are uncovered and we realize just how dangerous they can be. I think that is why I've always appreciated Gyaos as a villain. She seems so underwhelming compared to Gamera, but can quickly spiral out of control if its population isn't kept in check. While the kaiju are great, it doesn't end there, as Guardian of the Universe is filled with a foreboding and epic score, a compelling cast of characters, and gorgeous cinematography. Seriously, we need more low-angle shots in our kaiju cinema. It really brings the miniature sets to life and gives our kaiju a sense of scale. The Tokyo Tower shot in particular will always be a personal favorite of mine. Speaking of, I reckon about 4 of those 5 eggs can still be salvaged and made into Gyaos omelets. I'd love to score it higher, but I feel like many of the visual and practical effects hold this one back. The Gyaos props and suit look especially bad, in my opinion.
Man, we should have rated with omelets.
That would have been.
I love that.
That would be a good idea.
I love, Rav, how you picked out on the low-angled shots there for the kaiju fights.
Yeah. And the score. I'm glad you picked up on those too. And I really agree, because when we first saw Gyaos and the Gyaos props, I was ready for it to have this almost Jurassic Park raptor-esque nature to it and to actually be creepy and scary looking, but it ended up on the goofy side. I was really disappointed.
We have an email here from Matt Ryan who says, Gamera Guardian of the Universe is a near-perfect kaiju movie.
Whoa.
Combining a compelling human cast with top-of-the-line tokusatsu filmmaking, this thrilling monster film brought the Giant Turtle franchise up to parity with some of the best entries of the Godzilla series, while simultaneously ushering the genre towards the new millennium. Gamera himself is given a redesign that, while still cute enough to remain kid-friendly, is much more animalistic and imposing than his Showa design, with his powerful plasma breath and retractable elbow spikes making him a more formidable fighter than ever before. Gyaos, while a bit of a mixed bag in terms of execution, is truly frightening and otherworldly, posing a genuinely compelling threat to humanity. One element that I cannot praise strongly enough is the musical score composed by Ko Otani, who creates a palette of earworm motifs that instantly become the definitive sounds of the series moving forward. All in all, if I were to find myself being born into a Gyaos nest in the late 20th century, I would cannibalize 4 out of 5 of my siblings.
That's awesome.
Love the pod and can't wait to hear what y'all think about the trilogy.
Thanks, Matt. Man.
Note to self, don't get into a nest with Matt Ryan.
No, never going to a nest with Matt. I think maybe we missed something about the characters. It seems like people are finding them quite compelling.
We also have Nelbus, who writes in to say, light and shadow go so far to accentuate the monsters and characters on screen here. I don't know what color process they're employing in these 90s Japanese films, but the vibrancy and tones here are delectable. Can't get over how nice the skin tones come out with the accents of golden hour sunsets soaking the pores of the cast. Same look and feel I get from something like Haruko the Goblin. Gorgeous stuff. Some frames are the best I've seen in any kaiju flick. There is no need for this to go so hard. Fiery explosions and half shells. A digital zoom into a kid's eye to match cut on Gamera's final attack. The power of the moving image on full display. Excited to see how the bombastic energy evolves in this trilogy. I'm loving how they wear the sincerity of Gamera on their sleeve with this relationship and connection formed between the people and our favorite 200-foot turtle. 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, man. The filmmaking really blew me away. The visual elements are just so good in this, and I hope they just double down on it going forward. We have one more email. Not Gamera related, Godzilla related.
Ooh.
From Hellpark Fan. Hellpark says, megaNEWSlon and Gigan. They are such an underrated duo along with Zilla. The three of them are very unnoticed by others, and the way they goof around with each other is so cute. I didn't even know about them until last year, and ever since I found out about the pair, I just squeal, cry tears of happiness, or even become so joyful I fall over. I also really like your G-Man versus megaNEWSlon episode, and I'm listening to it as I write this. It's very good and well spoken, I believe. Awesome sauce. And that's an email from Hellpark Fan.
Cheers, awesome
Micah,
sauce.
thoughts on megaNEWSlon and Gigan? It's been a while since we've seen the duo together.
Maybe the best duo of all time.
Maybe. We share your love for sure, Hellpark Fan. Thanks for the email.
It might be the best duo of all time. Right behind the two Podzilla brothers. And hey, look, if you want to listen to even more Podzilla, we have a Patreon.
We do.
We have exclusive monthly episodes, and we're going to be jumping into the Godzilla Half-Century War comic line, which I've heard such good things about.
We did a little ask. We did a little SOS out to our patrons and said, hey, what books, what comics do you want us to cover? And Godzilla the Half-Century War was far and above the most requested. So we're going to be going through some of the really beloved, really high regarded Godzilla comics over on the Patreon. So a couple bucks a month. Come and join us.
And if you want to join our Discord and have chats with the rest of the Podzilla community, we have show notes to both that and the Patreon. And we have links to both the Godzilla server and our Patreon in the show notes for this episode.
And yeah, and it's actually pretty funny. We just received an email about Godzilla before we're going to be heading back to Godzilla next week, Micah.
What?
We're taking a break before we finish off the Gamera Heisei era. We said before that we're going to try and monthly or every few months at least do an episode on something Godzilla related on the main feed.
But what about G-Force, Jasha?
Micah, G-Force don't need to know about it. We can keep this on the down low because we're going to be continuing our Godziban journey. Godziban Season 2 this time next week. I think it's 13 episodes as opposed to the 20-ish that was in Season 1. They're all available for free on YouTube. Join us. We're going to be just watching through the whole of Season 2 and then talking about it on the show. And yeah, Godziban, if you didn't join us for our last episode, it chronicles the exploits of the three Godzilla brothers, Godzilla-kun, Minilla, and Little, who live on Godzi Island alongside various other kaiju friends.
And I believe, Jasha, that we're going to be doing another watch party for this series, for this season in the Discord.
We will.
So even more of an opportunity to jump in the Discord, have a chat with the rest of us as we either, one, dunk on the series, or two, just absolutely adore it and fanboy and fangirl over it in the server.
We really enjoyed, we really enjoyed Season 1. So I'm really looking forward to Season 2. So yeah, next week on the show, Godziban Season 2, and then we'll be getting back into the Gamera Heisei Era movies. But yeah, I think that's us. That's Podzilla for this week, guys. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope to see you in the Discord. Micah, anything else?
Look, Jasha, all I'm saying is in a few generations, maybe several hundred centuries, there's going to be, you could say, like a new race of humans effectively on the Earth. I think just like the Atlanteans in Guardian of the Universe, if there's anything that you want to send on to future generations, now's a great time to make a time capsule.
Well, yeah, let's do it.
Dude, make something lasting that in maybe a millennia, maybe a few centuries, some people can look to and say, hey, these things are trying to kill us, but we will prevail.
Are we making a Podzilla time capsule? Am I Googling right now how long a pack of sausages lasts before it goes off? If I can somehow preserve sausages, some bread, some nice like caramelized onions, some
some milk
mustard,
biscuits
some
in there as well.
Tomato sauce, yeah. I gotta check how long I can make these things last for the future generations.